I'm Scott. Thank you for that introduction. I gotta also say a thanks to Stacy Keith, guys. When she came on board for this office, Lubbock was desperately in need of an advocate who would really get in the trenches and work to help us with our careers. I remember being a 17-year-old kid starting to play in clubs and trying to find a way to survive in this. And it isn't easy. And so one of the goals of the Community Arts Foundation is to make that easier for the next generation and to make that easier for musicians coming up. And that's part of what all of this is about. We want to change the game in Lubbock, Texas. We all know how incredibly talented the musicians and artists from this region are. As a matter of fact, a few years back, Texas Monthly Magazine said that Lubbock was the heart of Texas music. They did not say Austin. They did not say Houston. They did not say Dallas. They said Lubbock. And if you look at the music that's come out over the last 15 years, I think that bears out. So kind of our goal is to help alter that landscape in a real nuts and bolts and financial way for you guys to make that easier to survive, okay? One of the ways you do that is by getting better gigs, more gigs. And so we wanted to put together a panel of the folks who actually do booking for these venues so that we can ask them some questions, you can ask them questions, you can meet them face to face, because we all know this is about relationships. It is about, you know, they always say it's about who you know. I hate that, but it kind of is. The more those relationships are built, the easier that becomes. So I'd like to welcome up our panelists at this moment. I'd like to welcome up first doing some booking for Cook's Garage. Where is Derek Bull? Come on up, Derek. I'm welcoming Derek first in part just because he's a really good buddy of mine. Used to work for me and still does occasionally for various gigs and stuff. Also a recordist, sound engineer par excellence, and then also does a lot of booking. Is it for the inside of Cook's? Yeah, for the inside of Cook's. Okay, so please make yourself at home. All right, let's see. Taylor Swift, where are you? Taylor, come on up. Taylor does booking for Two Docks Brewery. And I haven't met you yet. I know, yeah, it's always opposite each other, right? Please make yourselves at home. All right, Spencer Wills, where are you? Come on up, Spencer. Spencer does booking for the Cactus Theater. And we're old friends. We met 5 minutes ago. The Cactus Theater, everybody I'm sure is aware, just right down the street. One of the most famed theaters in Lubbock, Texas. And if you haven't played there, you really need to. It's a really special place to play. All right, Jessica Hall, where are you, Jessica? Come on up. Jessica books for the Cotton Court Hotel, which is such a dope place. Yeah, it's really awesome. I love it. It's really cool. Make yourself at home. It's nice to meet you.
Yes. And I'm here representing our agent.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay, great. Yeah, and there is a mic down on the end that we'll pass around. And then finally, Parker, where are you, Parker? Come on up, Parker. There you are. Great to see you again. I'm doing great, man. Make yourself at home. I'm just going to walk around and haunt. Parker Morrow books for the Blue Light, the very place you're here. So we're going to start off with some questions, and if you guys don't mind just passing the mic down, I'd like to ask each one of you these questions, okay? So Spencer, we're going to start with you. Would you tell us a bit about the venue that you work for and what your role there is, what your responsibilities are?
Yes, so I work at the Cactus Theater, as you said, just a couple doors down from here. I am the production manager, so all of the advancing with the artists, all of the stage setup, and all the technical details of the show is kind of my area of expertise. So that is what I do.
Great, fantastic. Derek, how about you, buddy?
Cook's is a bit of an interesting venue. They have three levels. There's the restaurant venue, which is usually solo and duo acoustic. And there's the Bus Barn, which is a 1,800 capacity indoor venue. And then the outdoor stage, which I'm sure many of you have seen, which can do up to around 10,000 people. So there's 3 pretty significant levels there. But I book for the restaurant out at Cook's.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right.
All right. I work for Two Dogs Brewing Company. We are a production brewing facility here in town. We are a self-distributing facility. So my primary objective is outside sales and distribution, but fortunately enough, I am the local or the resident music enthusiast as well. So I do the music booking. I took that on about 2.5 years ago. We used to go through an agent, but with my passion and connections, I thought it was going to be a more deliberate effort to get inside. So yeah, we've got a patio with pretty much unlimited capacity. We do big events at least once every quarter. We are part of the Lubbock Live Festival for the Arts. So we're just trying to do our best to get music and exposure for the local artists.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you spoke about being a music fan, the fact that that's important to you. I think I would say that's probably something for everyone on this stage. And so there's passion behind that. That's a beautiful thing. All right, fantastic. Jessica.
Okay, my name is Jessica Hall, and I'm here today with the Cotton Court Hotel. I'm representing Gretchen Barber. She is our agent. She books for all of our properties, which I'll talk a little bit about. We have live music at the hotel, outdoors when the weather permits, and indoors when not, inside the Midnight Shift restaurant at the Cotton Court Hotel. And we book music every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we have special events, and then we have event space that we can also refer our clients to Gretchen to help support private social events, such.
Awesome. So
Yes.
quite a bit going on over there.
Yes, and I went ahead and put together a flyer for you guys. It has her contact information and a little bit about what she's looking for, so that should help as well. On your way out, please feel free to grab one of those. Okay.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. All right, Parker.
Parker
Arguably the most famous venue in Lubbock, Texas at the moment, and for quite a bit.
So I do the blue light, and you're looking at it. This is we do 5 nights of music and songwriter night. So we're closed on Tuesdays and Sundays. I do all the booking, and I'm super awkward in person, but I'll be normal in emails.
Aren't we all? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, actually, we'll just go the opposite
back
direction.
here.
Why don't
All
we
right.
make it
Here we
easy?
go.
Okay. So obviously, you get a lot of folks calling wanting to book the blue light. There is a thing behind that. It is an incubator for the music business in Texas. So tell me about your decision-making process for booking, and kind of a little bit about what you're looking for.
Talent. You got to have a little talent. I listen to lyrics first before anything, and then obviously it's got to sonically do things for you, you know. But and then at the end of the day, you also, for the blue light, for a place like this, you got to be able to bring a few friends out too. So I'll give almost anybody a chance. And, you know, you're going to start out on Wednesdays, you know, during the week most of the time. And that's how a lot of people have, you know, made it and become successful, starting at Blue Light on a Tuesday night and working themselves up to, you know, Fridays and Saturdays and building a good following. But that's how I kind of view things.
Yeah, that
booking
makes a lot of sense. Do you have a certain target number of people? Like, let's say you put somebody in here on a Wednesday, they're an unknown quantity. How many butts and seats would you like to see to entertain them coming back
on a Wednesday?
On a Wednesday.
I mean, 300 would be
Well,
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
I think average, you know, 50, I don't know, Jamie, what do you think? 40, 50, 60 people on a Wednesday is pretty good. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't hit home runs 5 nights out of the week. So,
Yeah, you'd like to.
it would be amazing.
But thanks for
it's
being
just
honest
not the
about
reality
that.
of it.
Yeah, but thanks for being honest about that, because sometimes knowing a real metric of, hey, I've got this other venue and I'm putting 50 people
Yeah.
A night in there.
And it's not like if you come play and you only bring 2 people that I won't ever book you again. You know, it's a building process, and most everybody understands that.
Yeah. And a lot of people also get that same start through the songwriter.
Absolutely.
that you guys
That's
do.
one of the biggest things I try to promote. You know, like if someone's asking how to get in here, I'm like, I've been doing it a while. I can kind of feel someone out. Like, you know, you're either going to get a Saturday right off the bat, you're doing huge things, or, you know, start out on Wednesday or Thursday and we'll see what happens, see what kind of feedback I get. But come to the songwriter night and be involved and participate and network and meet people. And that's one of the best things you can do for yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, Jessica, same question for you. What are you guys kind of looking for, and what's your decision-making process?
So Gretchen's going to ask that you email a little bit about yourself, maybe a YouTube clip or something even homemade you can send her. She'll review, and she's really overall looking for experience. I know not everyone's going to start with experience, but experience gigging is what she's going to be looking for, just because we are a hotel. We have guests from all over this, country coming in, and I feel like she's looking for not only experience, but she's mentioned organization and communication is important to her. So, kind of the basics.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Being a hotel, obviously you're serving a certain clientele,
Sure.
if that makes sense. Is
Sure.
there a certain music style that you guys look for in that, or?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen a lot of Texas country obviously come through, classic rock, and we've had some fun like jam type bands, singer-songwriter.
Mhm.
So it's a variety. I know that sometimes it's acoustic, sometimes it's a full band or duos. We can honor just about anyone. When it's colder, we try to keep it to smaller groups inside the restaurant. The acoustics aren't the best inside, so we try to keep it to 1 or 2 people at the most. But we have live bands in there. It's just loud. Our restaurant seats about 50 people, so a little smaller than this room, maybe I would say. But when we have the outside patio, there's a lot more space for more.
I love it. Well, and I also love that you guys bill yourself as a music hotel. I mean,
Yes,
it's very
absolutely.
music centric, and I think
Yes.
it's really great. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
the name of our restaurant is the Midnight Shift, and that's the side B on That'll Be the Day, 45 Buddy Holly. If you don't know that, some of you probably do, but it's interesting. A lot of people don't know that, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
Little nod to the heritage
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
I love it. That's
Yes.
fantastic. All right, Taylor. So, Two Docs, great new brewery. You guys are doing cool things. You guys have a lot of live music over there.
Absolutely. We're doing 4 days a week right now. I've got a house DJ on Thursday nights. I do revolve that with performing artists as well, or other performing artists. Friday, Saturday, typically reserved for solo acts, but we do like to get a big band out there. Football is a huge point of jeopardy for us, as I'm sure it is for a lot of venues. Just during that downtime, it's hard to fill the seats, but we're still wanting to promote as best we can every chance we get. And then, of course, you mentioned it. First and foremost, the blue light is the beacon of what a live venue should be, especially in West Texas. And so our 502 Jam on Sunday nights has been really fruitful for us. I've been able to bring out a huge diversity from your very own Jerry Serrano comes out there every once in a while and jams with us. Brian Finley is a great local artist, and I'm seeing kids as young as 15, 16 years old coming out and performing rock classics and really getting a good response. So really just getting as much exposure as possible was really the goal early on, like developing as a music venue. Of course, we are limited to our space as well, be it that we're dictated by weather over 3/4 of the year, it seems like in Lubbock. Our inside facility is contained by pretty much those big stainless steel fermenters, so it's not ideal for acoustics, especially if you're at our 90% capacity in there. So we do kind of have to limit ourselves on booking, and that's something I've spoken to other artists about, is how do we make it more formidable during the winter. So we are limited in that, but it's as far as like, again, diversity, I think is the main thing. And then I did want to note just into one of the other questions, one of the things I'm looking for right now, especially in my younger artists, is just self-promotion. I want to make sure that we're kind of doing this together, because it has to be 50-50. I mean, someday you can be the 80, I'll be the 20, however it needs to look, but we need to make sure that we're promoting together. And just so I usually go for a quick social media check, just to make sure that they're talking about the venues that they're performing at, letting people know about their shows. And then of course that they're getting the reach, especially in the local market, if you're going to plan on staying local.
Man, I think that's a brilliant thing to bring up, is that you want to build a team with the venue. Okay. You want to be able to help each other promote and cross promote. I think occasionally I've seen musicians kind of just sit back and expect the venue to provide all that. And it's folks that kind of hustle in that department that seem to rise to the top.
One of the things that we've struggled with, even with the big festivals, is ticket sales. We have such an open venue, and especially being down there in the Arts District, there's a lot of foot traffic anyhow. If it's a busy Saturday, hopefully the art galleries are getting some foot traffic. And so we can't really charge per head. And so it's like I said, how do we get people enticed without a monetary investment on it?
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Thank you. All right. Derek, how about you? What are you kind of looking for? I know you're booking the inside, but you probably have some insight to the other stages as well.
For the inside, it's very, very simple. Just like Parker was saying, a little bit of talent goes a long way. And, just be able to hang a 3-hour gig and just be cool. Like it's a very laid back atmosphere, but we still do have the occasional difficult people that come through. So like Parker gets reports of the events. I also get reports of the events. You want them to be a positive report.
So expand on that just a little bit. Can you give me an example of an artist that you would go? No, I mean, not personal. You don't need to name names,
Sure.
But how do they present themselves? How do they act in the venue? Tell me what you're looking for in that.
Just professionalism. Just that's the general way to put it. But show up on time, be prepared, do a good job, don't cause problems. Don't complain to the wait staff. Don't demand that we hold a bunch of tables for people, and just show up and do your job. It's simple.
Don't get totally wasted and then be belligerent on stage. Probably might be in there.
I don't really have a problem with that because it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
And there's not time to get wasted. But people have done it. Those champions. But yeah, booking there, the easiest way to get a hold of me is through a text. I used to have a booking email, but it got broken and never got fixed. For the mid-level, the bus barn, that is past the point where you already have a booking agency. And like Parker, I know deals with them all the time, all the flavors of booking agencies. But that one, you would go through the owner who is the acting promoter in that case. And then obviously the bigger one is just that times 10. So,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, fantastic. Spencer, let's talk about kind of what you're looking for. What's the ideal for the Cactus?
So our situation is a little bit unique. And I will also say I am representing our owner. I don't actually make the booking decisions. Daryl Holland does all that. But what we look for is strictly local opening acts for the touring acts that we bring into the Cactus. So it's a little bit different because there's kind of a built-in crowd there. They're coming to see the headlined touring act that's already booked for the night. But if you are booked as an opener, that gives you an opportunity to just play to a little bit different crowd that would be here or at Cook's or anywhere else in town, really. And if you haven't been to the Cactus Theater, it's just a couple doors down. We are a seated theater. So it's a little bit different show than like here where there's kind of a dance floor and a bar and it's just different playing in a seated theater because all eyes are on you when you're playing there. So yeah, we just look for acts that would go well with the headlining touring act that's coming in.
Do you look for a certain level of fan base for those openers or anything else? I mean, obviously, any venue lives and dies by butts in seats. Okay, the number of people they can put in the venue.
Yeah.
Is there a magic number? I'm sure there's not, but is there kind of a range that you'd like to see?
Not really, because like I said, the crowd is already kind of built in. Usually our time slots are about 30 minutes and for the local opening act. So since the crowd is already built in, we're usually not looking for the opener to bring any extra people into our venue. What we are looking for is to just give added value to the show, extra entertainment value. And we usually look for someone that will kind of match up well with our headlining act. If we have like Gene Watson, like a classic country guy coming in, then we're probably not going to book like a rock or like pop funk opening act, you know? If you get booked there to open, then you can feel comfortable knowing that the crowd is probably already going to like the genre of music that you play. So it's just an opportunity to get to market yourself to them.
Fantastic. Derek mentioned something just a second ago that you prefer to be contacted by text. I'd love to just ask down the line, what does Daryl prefer to be contacted? How does he prefer to be contacted?
Well, email is good. Probably a bad way to contact us would be to show up on the night of a show at the theater and try to get our attention, because we are busy trying to make the show happen for that night. So if you come in and it's like 15 minutes before the show starts and you're like, hey, I want to like play here, then it's probably not going to go very well. So usually email is a good way. And Daryl and I, if we see someone out in town playing like here or Cook's or another restaurant, and we like what we're hearing, then we'll probably end up contacting you if it's a show that we need to find a specific type of opening act for.
Yeah, wonderful. Great. If you don't mind passing it down. Derek, we already know your answer.
Phone.
Text him. Yeah.
So we do have an online submission form, and I can export that anytime I want. My traction on that was extremely stifled for a good while there, so I quit utilizing it. But again, we do our 502 Jam every Sunday night. I've gathered dozens of artists from that collective. And then same thing, I like to go out. I mean, a lot of my friends are performing artists, so I'm out and about and get to see a lot of opening acts and a lot of varied performers. So, it's really just get out there. That's the kind of back to the self-promotion thing. If you're out there doing your best to be in the spotlight or to at least get your name out there, chances are you're going to get picked up by a lot of venues, it seems like.
Yeah, fantastic. Jessica?
So Gretchen prefers email, and her email address is on the flyer that I left in the back. We have several properties that she does book for, and we have a group. I know that I traveled to Irving and saw a local artist playing in Irving, and then I've stayed at the Austin property as well, and there was a local artist there. So if you look up the Valencia group, you'll see all of the different areas where we are. We're in Texas and California. We have properties in San Antonio, Austin, College Station, Irving, and California, as well as Lubbock. So if you get in with Gretchen and book here locally, you have the opportunity to travel. And because we are a hotel, we can set you up. So.
I think that's a good point too, because there are a few venues like that. I remember back when I was touring, there was the Chelsea circuit. Chelsea Street Pub had clubs all over the place. And if you got in one and you did well, you could actually tour that circuit. They were very specific. They even had a list of songs that you had to play. So it was a little tight.
Yeah.
But you could make a living playing that venue.
Right.
You know,
right.
or at least
Stay
enhance
busy.
your living
Sure.
pretty dramatically. Okay, wonderful. Parker, how about you, buddy?
I prefer email just because it helps me stay organized. I mean, I use every single way possible just because there's people contacting me through basically every messaging system there is. But
Right.
just, email is the best for me. And it's on the Blue Light website. So.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, most efficient. Yeah, okay, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, we don't have to name names. What is the absolute worst way someone has ever approached you? Like, if they really want to sink the opportunity and never play the Blue Light.
How much time do you have?
Yeah, right. If there's one that stands out as like, oh my gosh.
This guy got his girlfriend to like flirt with me and chase me around, and she wouldn't leave me alone, and she was successful. She got the gig. But he only played here once. He will never play here again.
Okay, you may have just won.
Well, I'll share one of Gretchen's stories. She did say the worst way to contact her is early in the morning on a Sunday demanding that she book you up because you're filling up fast. It's just, she said, be professional and she'll treat you the same.
Yeah, and
Basically.
Sunday morning is
Yeah.
not the time.
No, not the time. No.
You know, I think that's actually a really important thing to recognize is that all the venue owners and the people who book for these venues are people too. They have lives. Sometimes they have bad days. You don't know if somebody hit a dog on the way to the venue. You know what I mean? We've all had that moment. So, I think being able to extend a little grace to folks. One thing that I've found is a good approach to almost anyone in the industry is to say, hey, I'm sure you're really far behind. Is there a time that would be good for me to contact you? Most people, when you approach it that way, will go, no, this is fine. This is okay now. But I think acknowledging that you guys are really busy and probably 12 foot deep in sinking at every moment, that happens a lot. Please do.
Ask for specific dates. I am more prone, I've found myself looking into the calendar to see if that date is available, and that makes it easier on me. Like if the date's available, it's available. If you just email and say, hey, I want to play there, I'm less likely to go look at the calendar for you a date. And that's just me personally. I don't know how everybody else is, but I've always told people ask for specific dates.
Yeah, I think that's really smart.
Or time frames.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Sailor, how about you?
Yeah, y'all pretty much hit my top three right there. It's just honoring time. After 10 p.m. on a regular weeknight, I do like to rest. And then again, if it's Sunday afternoon and I met you Saturday night at 3 a.m. or something, it's probably not going to be the best time. Again, we're working with, I think with all my list right now, I'm over 100 artists, like just locally. And I'm sure that you guys can probably double, triple, quadruple that. But I want to give everybody a good shot. So if I ask for your availability, know that that's me telling you, I don't know mine. I need to work around what you're going with, and that way, like I said, we can be amicable. I just want to make sure that, again, communication is not crossed, and that way, again, maybe if you're not willing to communicate with me directly, how are you going to treat my bar staff when I'm not there, and things of that nature. It kind of unravels from there. So it's just being deliberative and directive and working with us.
Yeah.
Kind of just echoing all of the things. Specific dates is a big one. I have a horror story as well. Not quite that entertaining though, Parker. I was in the grocery store one time, and this guy who I had been meaning to get back to, he just corners me at the grocery store and is like, "Why don't you book me? I've been trying to get a hold of you for months." I've been emailing you. And I'm like, dude, the email broke. And it's just off-putting when something like that happens. And then it doesn't matter how good they are. You just have a bad taste in your mouth. And eventually I did book him again, but it was a long time. Back to the original statement, which was how to.
Well, we had asked for the worst horror story, and that's a pretty good one. Probably cornering you in the grocery
Oh,
store
yeah.
isn't the way to do it.
It was a Sunday morning.
Yeah, of course,
And
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
in my pajamas, half asleep.
Yep.
Or when you're at the bar drinking on your own.
On your own time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or really anything with making demands, and anytime where you come at us like you deserve something. It's like, I don't owe you anything, guy. But
Kind of an
anyway,
entitlement
I
kind of thing.
digress. Yeah,
Yeah. Kind of avoid that. Yeah. Awesome.
yeah, that's it.
Any horror stories? Worst way to approach the Cactus Theater?
Well, I don't really have any horror stories. I guess I have one kind of minor story. This was actually on the other side of it. We were contacted by an audio engineer that wanted to start working there, filling in on gigs and stuff. So he came before a show during intermission or something, it was during a show while we were like obviously busy. And which it wouldn't be a deal breaker if it's just, hey, here's my number. I wanted to just put a face to a name. If it's something really short and sweet like that, then that's fine. But then he kept calling our owner's house phone just multiple times repeatedly. And Daryl was never there because he's busy. It's his wife that picked up the phone every time. So that's probably not a good way to do that. But yeah, approaching us during shows, which you would think would be convenient because we're already there, but it's just extremely inconvenient if we get cornered while we're like trying to do something else, trying to get the show done. But email is good for us. That's our best way. And honestly, attitude is, like most of y'all have said, is probably the most important piece of the puzzle. Because even if you come during a show and if you're very humble about it and saying, hey, I know you're busy, but I would like to play here. And also, like I said earlier, you can look at our calendar online and see the shows that we have coming up. And since we're booking opening acts, you can kind of do your own research as far as would I fit well into this person's show. If you're a Texas country artist and you see that we have Jason Boland on the calendar and you contact us and you say, hey, I'm a huge fan of Jason Boland. Like, I think my music would go well with his crowd, stuff like that, then that would be a big step forward for you as an artist.
So trying to match it to the event, which several of you've already mentioned, I think that's really smart.
Yes.
It seems that there's a core of this that obviously being very respectful. What about persistence, if it's respectful?
Yes, respectful persistence, and again, with just that humble attitude, I think is a good thing. But if it's
Annoying.
repeated calls to the owner's wife, then there's a line there, and it's a fine line. So it's difficult to put that in words.
Yeah.
But you know it when you see it.
Yeah. Derek, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the persistence, it's kind of a toughie because I think everybody's different. Me personally, I don't mind a reminder usually every other week, but once a week or more than once a week is just a little too much bugging,
Yeah. Starts to
So-
become disrespectful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually every other week for me is about the sweet spot. Because, everybody's so busy. And then if you catch them just in the right moment, you'll get it done right then and there. If like for me, for example, if I'm willing, if that person isn't annoying me by, all the time, then if I catch a stray moment, I get a text. Yeah, let's just do that right quick and knock it out. So.
How about you, Taylor, on the persistence question?
Well, it's usually me, not them. So
Yeah. Okay, great.
again, I do a lot of outside stuff outside of the venue itself. So definitely giving call, text. I mean, the best thing is just to establish what our primary means of communication is. And the main thing is if I notice the Facebook message, see a text message, get a call in the tap room, it's like, hey guy, like whoever it is. I mean, we may have had communication, or it may just be, like I said, a lapse. Maybe we didn't see the message. It's nothing malicious. It's so I appreciate it. I like to be reminded. I think consistency is good for me. And so, we do our best, I think. And again, I think we're probably one of the smaller venues considering everybody on this panel. And so I think we like to live by grace, and hopefully that we can get artists that want to do the same thing.
Well, I can just say, I think just listening to you guys and just being in the business, I feel like, 10 days is a good time, maybe. Follow up after 10 days and just say, hey, just following up, that's maybe it's about every other week, 10 days.
Yeah.
Persistence pays off most of the time. It can get annoying, for some. It can get very annoying if someone's doing it, hitting you up every day or two, and that does happen. But sometimes it pays off for me because there was a young kid from Amarillo, and he was in my inbox every single day for like a month, and I finally was like, all right, you can have a Wednesday, come in, let's see what you can do. Sold it out within, like, we booked it 2 days before. So, just stay persistent, but, don't cross the line. Don't be too annoying. And normally it'll pay off for you.
I love it. Well, it's really cool because it seems like each one of your venues is pretty open, to allowing new talent, helping foster that. And I got to thank you guys for doing that, because I think that's so important in Lubbock, Texas. We all know what a hotbed of talent we actually sit in. It ebb and flows, certainly. There are always waves where it's like, oh my gosh, and then it's like, yeah, it's not as good. But it's thanks to you folks that people have a chance to get out in front of the audience. We'd like to give an opportunity for you guys to ask some questions of these folks, and I think they'd probably be open to answering anything that they can. So I'm gonna come down. Is there anybody out there that might have a question they'd like to ask? And I want to be careful with the feedback here. Gotcha. If you don't mind, tell us your name and then give us your question.
Excuse me, my name's Ryan Hazeltine, and I was wondering who's got PAs and who does not?
We have a PA.
Great question. So 3 venues have PAs, 2 don't, so the artist has to provide. Okay. Lubbock traditionally hasn't provided PAs, and that's started to change. Yeah. So, okay. Any other? Good. Okay. Great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sorry, I made you run all the way over here. My name is Jen, and I just wanted to know, like, I was talking to Taylor earlier, and he said, hey, just don't do a bunch of country covers. Okay, well, I'm a country singer. And yeah, I'll serve you some originals, but yeah, I do want to do some covers too, so that people don't walk out like, oh, that girl is singing all the songs that I don't know. You know what I mean? So what is something like in an artist that you're booking, or that when you're out on your own personal time, you say, damn, I got to have her. What does that do? Because I know you got to make someone feel something, and I know, I've heard all the cliches and I've done it. But for you personally, what is the thing that you're like, oh yeah, that's it, got to have it?
Can I cover my tracks at least?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please do. Yeah.
To be fair, I'm a huge country fan. And I think what I mentioned on the follow up on that is just that you got to have some style, you got to have some pizzazz and some confidence up there. I think we all know what that. I mean, we'll call it the X factor, I guess, for generational span. It's just knowing that an artist needs to be at your venue. You know that they're going to captivate. Like I said, maybe they bring their own fan base, or maybe they create a whole new one that night. But you just know what it is, and I think that I'm sure we'll see here in a minute that you've got that kind of pizzazz and that style that goes that no matter what you're singing, people are going to be enticed by what you're performing. So I think overall, like I said, we like having diversity, but everybody likes to sing along too. So I don't think there's much restriction on that.
For us, since we do kind of have that built-in audience already, that gives our opening acts a lot of freedom to expose the crowd to their original music. So one thing that we look for is originality. Songs with, or artists with original songs. And honest, I mean, if you come in and play some covers, that's fine. That's great. Because I mean, that's a lot of musicians, that's their bread and butter. It's like, that's how I'm going to get paid if I'm playing in a restaurant or a bar, is I'm going to play people, or I'm going to play music that people already like. For us, it's a little bit different. We like originality. And if you have songs that really just speak to you, that you do want to cover, then that's great too. I mean, as long as it's, and I know this is probably a cliche, but as long as it's real, as long as it's like coming from a real place, someone that probably wouldn't get called back is someone that came to open for a country show and played a bunch of classic country covers with no originality at all. That's someone who probably wouldn't get called back for us.
Any other folks have comments on that? Are we good? Another question.
Hello, my name is Brandon. This is my band. This is Quinn, and this is Matt. We're in a little bit of a unique situation as a band right now. We're all Texas Tech students, and I'm actually graduating in about a month and moving away from Lubbock for the time being. And so we've been performing at Beer House. We've done 3 shows there, another one this week. And so we're looking to get more gigs quickly before I have to leave, and before we have to just make music from a distance. And so my question is, how do y'all think we can go about getting gigs quickly and showing the talent that we believe we have without coming across as overbearing or crossing that line of being too persistent? Because the reality is we only have about a little over a month left together as a band. For now.
I'm a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned the Beer House performances. Do you have anything recorded by chance or anything of that nature that could kind of showcase your talent?
We have a bunch of videos. We don't have anything like on any streaming services, but we've got tons of clips from our shows.
I'd have to evaluate. No, I mean, I think the main thing is, I mean, you being here today is absolutely the primary objective, I think, is just being out here and getting yourself known, talking about it, and seeing what you can do. You're making your efforts right now, and I'd love to talk after the panel just to see if there's anything we can do with you guys.
For me at the Blue Light, I mean, most of the time I'm booked out probably further than you would be able to get in, but it's not out of the ordinary for a Wednesday or a Thursday to come open. So basically you just email me and we'd go from there. If I have the date available, then I'd probably give you the chance, you know. But one thing I would suggest is be professional in your emails and put links in there that make it easy for me to go look at what you sound like, you know. So and be genuine, you know. When you're emailing venues, don't, like, a pet peeve for me is seeing something that looks like a mass email, because we're all about family, building family and building artists and working together and being loyal to each other at the Blue Light, I think. So You know, just be personable, be genuine, and you probably have a better chance of getting the gig. But you know, for here, it basically going to come down to whether I have the date available or not in that short amount of time.
All right, we have time for one more question.
Okay, so this is kind of for I'm Ashley. Hello. This is for Stacy and Scott as well as all of you guys. I am not country, nor do I really feel like playing a lot of covers all the time. I do have probably about 100 to 200 person fan base that would show up at a venue in Lubbock. But I'm sitting next to a rapper, a metal band. So, how many of you all are open to if they would fill seats, having, let's say, not your traditional genres in town, something that kind of pushed the envelope with your crowd? Where do artists like that play in town?
It's a great question.
Yeah, I had a Hub City Kickback about 3-4 weeks ago, and we partnered up with some local rappers, and we had DJs, we had rappers, I think we had 15 different artists on showcase that evening. It was a kickback, and the fact that it was a give back, where they were raising donations throughout the entire evening with the vendor fees and the food truck fees. So that was a really cool and unique way we got to incorporate some of that style. I'm currently talking with a metal band to get our first metal band out there. I've got a couple punk rock bands that I get out. There's some old friends of mine. Yeah, I mean, we're totally open to suggestions. Again, the hard part right now for us specifically, and even in regards to like a time crunch, is that our venues are super limited based on seasonality, but we're willing to work with anybody. I mean, we want local artists to have exposure. I think that's, again, why I'm here. That's why I got in cahoots with anybody in this music scene locally. So yeah, again, we'll get information exchanged.
Anybody else have a comment on that?
I first of all, I love. I'm a huge metal fan. I'm a huge rap fan. I would love to see that those just different types of genres like that come into Lubbock, and I feel your pain on the difficulty in finding a place to play. For us, since we bring in a pretty big variety. We do have a lot of country bands. Obviously, it sells tickets, so we kind of we bring those shows in because we love them, but they sell tickets. So if we bring in acts, if you're like checking our online calendar that are a little bit different, like if you see an act on our calendar that you're like, okay, that's in my vicinity of things that I could do, then that would be a good way to market yourself to us, is just trying to match yourself up with a similar show at our specific venue.
I've got a quick comment, and then so does Stacy. First off, one of the things we're trying to do with this organization is open Lubbock to more genres. Lubbock's always been open genre-wise. There have been occasionally times that are narrow as far as the venues are concerned. We have a festival that we're building called the Buffalo Grass Festival that we're very intently, there are 13 Texas country music festivals, I think 13 right now, there may be 14 now, that happen in the region. So we feel that that's very well represented. So we want to see urban music, we want to see rap, we want to see hip hop, we'd like to see pop, we'd like to see odd alternative stuff. We'd like to see that expand and help that grow. So know that there are people in this town absolutely working for that.
And the other thing that I would suggest, though they're not on this stage today, because honestly, that we just ran out of bar stools up there, but that it would be to visit with Luca and CASP. If you're not connected with those arts organizations downtown, they're amazing, and every first Friday they both have multiple live music opportunities. And so if you haven't reached out to them, don't be shy. They're great folks, and so I would reach out to them as well to see maybe some First Friday chances.
Yeah, Young Crybaby does some rap and hip hop and stuff like that literally on First Fridays every time. So there is a community. It may be small, but let's help it grow. Okay. I'd like to thank you guys so much for being a part of this, and thank you for being really transparent. That felt very honest and no subterfuge. Thank you. That really, really helps. Guys, let's give them a round of applause for doing this for us. They're going to be, I'm sure, hanging out to hear some music, and please feel free to introduce yourselves and all of that good fun stuff. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll get some music coming this way.